Why, hi, everybody, and welcome to the Pixel Classroom here. A little bit of a CT lessons, plannings, and tutorials here. I'm actually got sessions I'm going back into. This is the very first one I've done. As you can see, this is not live stream. This is thrown into the normal things for recording, unless on the main YouTube channel, as you can see here. This has no audio. This is completely visual because honestly, this visualization works very well. So I want to do here. And of course, this one is inspired by, of course, Tish Richmond's The Magical CTE Classroom. I actually got this idea at Christmas, believe it or not. And as a recording of this, it was December 27th. So this was only actually a couple days ago, believe it or not. It wasn't actually Christmas, but it was the previous weekend here. So last Saturday, if you want to go into that. But we, our friends, like to play board games and like to things. And we got into this one. It was really cool. And it's called Telestrations. And I'm actually going to talk about how Telestrations, what the rules are, how you can use in your classroom. And it's a great way of gamification. Also works really good for vocab. And you can honestly do this for any grade level. I mean, yes, it's doing the career and technology education because it can fit there the best. I'll give you some examples here when we get to our one slide, but I just want to say this works really well. This also works very good in lower elementary if you're going to have students that are working on motor skills as well as visualization of words or ideas. Works great for them. But for higher level, it just goes very, very well in hand and really gets students working. Works great for group dynamics because it is a group game. It really is. I mean, you can just do two people, but honestly, it works the best when you've got at least three or more. So let's get into what is Telestration. So Telestrations, it's very simple. It's like a blending of Pictionary and Telephone, and I've done this, and I'm going to use my student example of what I want to do with this game here going forward, and hopefully come February, if nobody's done my donors chooses right now or thrown anything else, please think about that because this goes towards that. But it blends Pictionary and Telephone where players have to sketch a secret word. So they get these dry eraser boards, and they come with dry eraser markers. You can get a cheap set online if you want to, or run to the local store, whatever you for. I mean, you don't have to be stuck here, especially way it is, but it's really set up. But basically, what happens is you get a word, and this word has a category, and you get a dice, and you roll the dice or die, I should say. It's only one dice. And what happens? It gives you a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you look at that word. If the word is too complicated or you feel it's going to be complicated, you flip the card over and it has an alternative. And sometimes you always go with the best of two worlds. So let's say you flip over one and it says palm tree. Okay, cool. A palm tree. And then the other word behind it says, make Mount Rushmore. You're like, ooh, well, I could do either, but most likely people will get the palm tree. So you write the word palm tree. It covers the board. You cover the board, and then what you do is you go to the next slide. So it's like a set of 6 here, and what happens is you draw that word. So I'm drawing a palm tree. Cool. You don't have to use black markers or just one color marker because sometimes if you do color, it's a little too easy that way. Then you pass it to the next player. Now they can't look at what the secret word is. They have to look exactly at the picture. So in this case, a palm tree. Person might look at it and say, "Oh, that's a palm tree," but another person might just say, "Well, it's just a tree." So they write the next word tree, and then they pass it to the next person. That person just sees the word tree. They don't see the previous first two boards, what the secret word is, or what was the original picture. So they just like, oh, the word's tree. Okay, I'll draw a tree. And they make like say an oak tree, or they do a little sketch tree, like something they saw when they were younger. And then they pass it off, and the person might say, oh, that's still a tree. Or they might say that's an oak tree, or that's a weeping willow. And then finally, eventually just goes back to where they get to the original player. And then what they do is they do the prompts, based off of each one of those. And they, say like, well, okay, everybody, let's look at, and this is how they get the most points, is how many people guessed the secret word right, both in drawings and names. So they say, oh, my word was palm tree. And they show I drew a palm tree, and the person, oh yeah, and the person figured that was a palm tree. So they wrote, they wrote palm tree, and then the person next to them said, oh, I'll draw a palm tree, but it looks a little too hype, and it looks like a weeping willow. This person just says tree, and then the next person says weeping willow, draws a picture, and then the person says, okay, I'll draw a weeping willow. And the person might think the last person said, well, it looks like a bush, but then they get there and they say, well, look at this. 3 people not only figured out the drawing, they got the picture. It stayed. I get all those points, and some people might just go way off. I had a person that did a turtle, so they did a turtle when originally the word was rock and they thought it was a turtle. So it can get really funny and really, really great. So it works really good. I mean, all you need for the supplies, and honestly, you can do this up to 12 players. Just use dry eraser, set of wipes. They can be little cloth wipes like this here in my little video screen. It can be mini Post-its if you want to, if you don't have it. But the good thing is you use timers. When it's a big group and it's friend fun or family fun, people don't really use the timers. In a student group, use that timer. It depends on how complicated the words, like 30 seconds. I even say this in the rule. I mean, if they're simple words, just do 30 seconds. But if you want them a little time to think about the word, give them ideas, give them that minute 30. Do that. I wouldn't go beyond a minute 30 because then that can get a little thing. Some people can overthink themselves and mess up that. So that can really cause problems. And then, of course, how you can use this in the classroom is use vocab words. You can do everything else. You can set them as a minimum of 4. You can do 3. But I say you do this, and you can do vocab words. And this can be in any classroom. This doesn't have to be CT. This can be ELA. Like, what is a compound? What is an adverb? And, sometimes it's harder to draw an adverb versus say what an adverb is. So it really gives a good challenge. And like I said, the correct guesses for the person once they get it back is how many. So, they might get 2 right. They might get 5 right. They might get all 9 right if it's, that's actually the maximum amount of points you can get is 9 because you got to think of the first player. They don't score themselves. They kick it all off. So truth is, most likely I would always go to 9. I mean, if somebody can get up to, which is how many slides you actually have on the Telegrations, you only get 9 pages. You don't get 10. You don't get more. Can you do more? Sure, you can. If you do Post-it notes, if you have flip boards, and some people do flip and wipey boards, they have up to 15 pages. So you can do this, the point system here, but you do that. And it's really kind of cool because you can just use this number thing. You can just do objects too. It works like in math for vocabulary, sentence structures, items. Sometimes I do this for pieces. I actually do in my leadership classroom. We actually play, when we talk about communication that week, we actually have it where they play a game of telephone. So this works really good because it gives a visualization. I got to talk my word. It's early Saturday morning when I had 3 cups of coffee. I'm good, folks. Anyhow, but it really makes them look and pay attention to communication. So this can work in a lot of classrooms. Like for leadership, they'll get a word or something that requires leadership. So I'd have them, roll the dice. I make sure they would get cards. Actually, because there's over 40 cards in the game. So you can make up your own words, or you can just single out the cards that match your curriculum. Like for leadership, I'll take out like communication, pieces like that. Self, ethics, so forth. And then, they roll when the dice is rolled for the groups, they do that. And usually you go clockwise. I mean, it depends on your group start, but if you have a group, just do it clockwise. It's really good. It's really amazing, but it really goes. And you really go on this. It really teaches them communications, visualization, structure, and communication. And it's also fun because it can just get really, really funny. And sometimes it really shows people and students thinking about how they visualize and think things. And it's a really great way because then you can put in notes like, well, you should look over that word, or really, what does that look to you? I mean, like I said, if I was in a culinary arts and they said measuring cup, somebody can think, man, but what if somebody said 1/3? And you can't write the word 1/3. Well, maybe in the guess word, but how do you draw 1/3 of a cup of anything? And the person might have to do markers. And they might have to do like a long, like they can't use numbers, but they might like draw it. And then maybe they'll do the little increments. Like, what does that look like? That's an example. If you're doing something in a math class, what's linear? And somebody might just do a little number line like, oh, see, it's going in order. That's linear. Non-linear. Well, the person goes here, and then they go here, they go here. What does horizontal management look like versus vertical management? Vertical, you're going from top to down. Horizontal is like, well, now I'm here, but then I'm here. Does that visualize? Can they get the word? Or somebody might just say it looks like a zigzag line. It really gets them thinking, and it really helps them with it. It's great for vocab. It's great for central structure, and it's really good. And then you do your points. Then after that, you find out who's got the most points per group, and you go there. And if you really have the time, like I only have 45-minute classes now. I mean, it works really great if you have like a block schedule and you have like 60 to 70 minutes done. You can then start moving the groups. You can take the groups that didn't get as many points, the students didn't get as many points, put them in a group and see how they communicate better. And then the ones that get the higher points, put them in a group and see how it is. And sometimes you can mix matches. So it really does. And then by the end of it, you can just see who it is. You can do your classroom point systems. You can get a mini candy reward, but it really gets people thinking visually and thinking of their word structure. Also gets them thinking about their sentence structure too. Like because some of these aren't just plain words. Some of them are, structures. Like one of them says taking a walk. Well, you might draw a person, but they're standing, they're moving, or they might do it and then draw an arrow, like, oh, and then like put some trees and maybe a sun and a call, like, oh, they're outside taking a walk. I get it. And somebody might be saying like crosswalk. It really thinks about those ideas and stuff, and it works really, really great. And I mean, it's a great way. You can find the game local stores. You can find it online. It just depends on what you want for the sim, or you can make your own version of it. I mean, you can make your own cards using Canva. You can do the thing. You can get some cheap wipey flip boards for like 15 for like $10, and then they just have the flips on them. Like I said, the wipey board, and then get some dry eraser marker and like, you know, some wipes or anything. You can do this a lot. You don't just have to buy the main game of Telegrations. You can build your own, and there's no way. And if you want to do digital, you can do digital too. You can put them on Canva. You can put them on a whiteboard app. You can put them on a Google Slides, and you can just do it with that, like a secret word getting passed by, you know, by the stuff. Like it's like, okay, this person's going to start this and go, but they've written down the word on a Post-it note or something to them, and then they've shared the Google Slides whiteboard app, and they're going, and then it's shared with that group, and they said, okay, this person first, okay, 30 seconds up, person two go, person three. So you can do this digitally too. It doesn't have to be analog. It can be digital, but it works in such a fun and great structure. And I'll have some of the show notes about where you can purchase the game, and some supply ideas in the description here on this video. So those who are, thank you so much. Think if you want to learn more about this, definitely check out one thing at this channel at Pixel Classroom 07, or follow me on Blue Sky at Ryan7Reed. So I hope that is. Go ahead and leave a communication chat if you would like to know about this more. Have fun with it. You don't have to start today, but it's just an idea to give you one of the thoughts, and I think it's a really good one. I mean, by the time this is filmed and recorded, and me hitting my poor microphone because I'm not editing this, it's about to start 2026. Good way to do it. Or you can just wait until next school year, or you can start tomorrow. It's great. It's fun. It's affordable. It's engaging.